2020 was a significant year for Bangladesh. The country and its people were all gearing up to celebrate the birth centenary of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and the golden anniversary of Bangladesh's independence. The nation's mood was optimistic. 2019 had been a good year, both economically and socially. The first year of Sheikh Hasina's fourth and third consecutive term was one of progress and development and record-setting firsts. With 8.1% economic growth, $2.8 billion in foreign direct investment, $18.3 billion in remittance earnings, and $40.5 billion in export earnings, the country's booming economy resulted in greater prosperity for the people. "2020 started off with a positive vibe, but the pandemic came calling in March. Not just Bangladesh, the entire world was caught somewhat off guard. The first confirmed case of the coronavirus in Bangladesh was detected on 8th March 2020. Immediately, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina took strong charge of the situation. She ordered that all public gatherings, including Mujib Year events, be suspended. To contain the virus and ensure physical distancing, the Awami League government announced a general holiday, shut down land, sea and airports, imposed restrictions on road, rail and water travel, deployed administrative, law enforcement and security personnel. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina conducted a series of video conferences with local officials to get a snapshot of what was required at the grassroots. Relevant plans, strategies and protocols were put in place with the help of the technical experts and public health specialists. In a record time, the Awami League government recruited 2,000 doctors and 5,000 nurses to ensure treatment of COVID-19 patients. 167 PCR laboratories were set up across Bangladesh with the daily capacity to test up to 20,000 samples. Major infrastructural work was done to enhance the capacity of the healthcare system to handle the COVID patients. 10,381 general beds and almost 600 ICU beds were dedicated for the COVID patients across the country. The public sector alone arranged isolation for 100,000 people and institutional quarantine for more than 600,000 people so far. Around 3 million people received health advice through 3 dedicated mobile helplines of the government. After meeting the demand of frontline workers for personal protective equipment, the country exported PPEs worth more than $500 million by the end of July 2020. How Bangladesh fared in the months ahead is clear from the December 2020 Bloomberg rankings of countries for COVID resilience. The country was ranked as one of the top 20 countries in terms of performance. During the holidays, the government was faced with the mammoth task of conducting one of the largest humanitarian relief operations in the country's history. Things were exacerbated by the devastation caused in several districts by Cyclone Amphan. Food relief and cash handouts were distributed to a total of 35.4 million people by the government. Additionally, the Awami League with its own resources provided cash support worth approximately $1.2 million and food support to 12.5 million people. Following a call from party president Sheikh Hasina, workers of Awami League and associated organizations helped farmers with harvesting their crops when a temporary shortage of labor was faced.
অনেকে হাত পাততে আসবে না, অনেকে চাইতে পারবে না, তারা যেন কষ্টে না থাকে, তাদের বাড়িতে বাড়িতে খাবার পৌঁছে দেওয়ার ব্যবস্থা করতে হবে।
Various incentives and stimulus were provided to farmers in the national budget. As a result of the special measures for agriculture, despite the pandemic and the cyclone, Bangladesh did not face any shortages of food. After 66 days of continuous holidays, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina decided to open up the economy. To offset the adverse economic and social impacts of the COVID-19 crisis, the Awami League government, led by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, announced a total of 23 stimulus packages amounting to $14.6 billion or 4.44% of the GDP. These packages took into account the whole of society, including returning overseas workers, large industries, small and medium enterprises, unemployed youths, rural population, etc. By November, more than 40% finance of the stimulus packages were disbursed. A total of 7.6 million firms, organizations, entrepreneurs and other beneficiaries got loan facilities under these schemes. These schemes helped the businesses survive the worst of the pandemic. For instance, approximately $1.3 billion were provided to 1,992 export-oriented industries as easy loans by the government. This directly helped save the jobs of more than 5 million workers. On 30 June 2020, the national budget worth almost $70 billion was passed, with special emphasis on pandemic-related recovery initiatives. Allocation for social safety initiatives were increased by 28.5% to ensure that people who successfully graduated out of poverty under the Awami League's policies in the preceding 11 years did not slide back into poverty again. The previous 2 terms of the Prime Minister saw widespread digitization. The Digital Bangladesh initiatives enabled the government to carry out their business despite being physically distanced. With 168 million mobile phones and 110 million internet connection users, citizens could access over 600 government services online from home. The government's dedicated website and apps for coronavirus enabled citizens to keep abreast of all relevant updates real-time. Financial inclusion measures such as mobile financial services enabled e-commerce and f-commerce to thrive during the shutdowns. In July 2020 alone, the total amount of transactions via mobile crossed $70 million. Between July and September 2020, online sales generated $708.46 million in revenues. Compared to neighboring countries and those with similar socioeconomic situations, Bangladesh did much well economically. Bangladesh managed to achieve foreign exchange reserves passed the $43 billion threshold for the first time before the end of the year. Thanks in part to the government's 2% cash incentive support, earning from remittances stood at $21.9 billion at the end of 2020. The Awami League government also doubled its diplomatic efforts to mitigate the human and economic costs from the return of migrant workers. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's social justice-focused government also announced 2 packages worth almost $295 million to rehabilitate the returnees. COVID-19 severely affected exports during the second half of the last fiscal year, that is, between January and June 2020. Nonetheless, Bangladesh managed to bounce back soon to earn a total of $33.67 billion from exports in the 2019-2020 fiscal year, and earned $19.23 billion in the first half of the current fiscal year. Even during the pandemic, the Awami League government was mindful of the need to continue the works of the mega projects. This paid off when, on 10th December, the 41st and last span of the Podda Bridge was installed, thereby offering a full view of the dream project for the first time. Since October, work has been moving ahead at full speed on the other mega projects like the Podda Bridge Rail Project, Dhaka Metro Rail, the Kornopuli Tunnel, the Rooppur Nuclear Power Project, etc. Currently, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League government have embarked on a comprehensive program for mass vaccination against COVID-19. It should be remembered that even during the pandemic, the Awami League government was successful in carrying out a mass vitamin A vaccination campaign among almost 21 million children of Bangladesh. In November 2020, Bangladesh signed a contract for procuring 30 million doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca corona vaccine from Serum Institute of India. Additionally, the Government of India, as a testament to the current bilateral ties between the two countries, sent Bangladesh another 2 million doses of the same vaccine as gift on 21st January. Bangladesh is also set to receive 68 million doses of corona vaccine from Gavi, the vaccine alliance under the COVAX arrangement. Other viable options are also being constantly considered. A policy is being formulated for the private sector to bring and administer corona vaccines commercially too. In the international arena, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been vocal about the rights of the least developed and developing countries to get vaccines at affordable prices and at the same time as the developed countries. While Bangladesh continues to fight off COVID-19 with various recovery initiatives, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government has not lost sight of the future. In December 2020, the Awami League government approved Bangladesh's 8th five-year plan for the period of July 2020 to June 2025. This was preceded by the approval of the country's second Perspective Plan 2021-2041 in February 2020. The 5 and 20-year plans aim to make Bangladesh a poverty-free, prosperous country in phases. Despite many countries commencing mass vaccination drives, the world is yet to defeat COVID, and the resulting challenges are likely to remain in the foreseeable future. As 2020 has clearly shown, the quality of leadership is the determining factor during a global crisis. People of Bangladesh are thankful that they have Sheikh Hasina, a leader who is not afraid to accept challenges and to face them head on.